stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with the roll call.
Okay. Leslie Henley.
Here.
Tom Ahern. Here. Ken Dunbar. Here. Barb Garber.
Here.
Ken Riley. Tammy Wareham.
Here.
Steve Weaver.
Here.
Herb Martyr absent. Bart Dunsmore absent.
Motion to excuse absence.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone not in favor? Take a look at the agenda. We're going to adopt the agenda this evening.
I move we adopt the agenda as written.
I second that, please.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All not in favor? Take a look at the meeting minutes for March 22nd. Thank you, Barb, for doing those in his absence.
I move we adopt. Did you make a move?
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any not in favor? Do we have any citizens' comments on agenda items or non-agenda items?
Are you talking about the extended hours?
That's going to be in the public forum.
Okay.
Any communications? Beyond what's
No, for me.
back for tonight? Okay. Unfinished business?
We have any?
No. Okay, new business. Make a motion that we open public hearing for discussing the marijuana retail establishment hours of operation.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is open, and we have several people that have signed up to speak. Chris Manzik? Okay. Not on that, okay, okay. Pod Powers, is that on you for that subject?
I do have a microphone over there if anybody would like to use one.
I'd like to hear you, I'd like you to use one.
Yeah.
He was asking me, and then he's asking me something about what you said, and then I can't hear what you say, so.
Turn on. Well, I've had some good experiences. I lived where I lived for 70 years. About a month ago, 6 weeks, I picked up the paper. I seen where one of these safe marijuana stores up in Deckerville just got raided. And I suppose the people were told it was nice and safe and wouldn't have any problems. But there it was, a picture of all the rifles laid on the tables. Well, about 6 weeks ago, I had to call up, ask them to get a hold of somebody to turn the lights down because of where I'm living. The lights shine right through in my deck into my kitchen all night long. Well, they turned them down. Well, I sat at home a couple weeks ago, 9 o'clock at night. I got a knock on the door. Young man comes to the door, and he says that I come in. He'd been about jacked all out of shape, a lot of problems. He come up there, and he's in the house, I guess, for close to an hour. Reached in his pocket and pulled out a bottle of dope. My wife says I shouldn't call it that. I'm not happy. I don't want the damn things in town to begin with. And they tell me that they're not going to have trouble with them. Have a knock on your door. That guy could have had a weapon. He could have had some grind against me from years ago and finally wanted to equalize it. I don't know. I don't want it there. I don't want him having any longer hours. I don't even want him in town. I could say a lot more, but I don't want to get in trouble.
I'll get in trouble for you. I talk loud enough. I'm a nurse, and I do believe that there are medicinal reasons for it. But I do not believe that there are enough people in Memphis that need to marijuana things. I am not against marijuana. You want to smoke weed, I'll call it weed. I'll call it marinol, I'll call it marijuana. I'll give it every medicinal name there is. But do we need to? No. And if they want extended hours, then their hours should be cut in the morning and allow the one factory or house to work in the morning and one to work in the afternoon. Make it fair. Additional hours, I mean, and I get, but do you get where I'm coming from? We've allowed this as a city and it's happened, then we should allow the person that was here first to be able to choose their hours, and I really don't know their hours, but maybe we can adjust their hours and ask them to compromise and let them have additional hours after. I don't know if there were set hours. I wasn't here in the beginning. I didn't realize that there was a problem with 2 until it happened. So my thing is that I don't think that they should be given additional hours. They should cut their hours in the morning if they want additional hours at night.
You know,
And I
just
know
say
you don't
something?
want it at night either. I get it. But to make it fair,
What's your name?
Tina Mansick.
You know, I like to say something just a second. Where I live, I can see sit in my living room and I can see right across the road where that dope house is there now. I see the traffic that goes in and out. We live on a dead-end street. What happens if somebody comes up there and they're running for the cops? They don't know I live on a dead-end street. What happens? We've had issues up before years ago, like with drunks coming up in there. You know. So it's just something else to think about.
Well, I think I'll take a turn. My name is John Terrace. I've been in this city for 24 years. I moved to a nice farming community, and I don't know what the hell's happened here. I'm really disappointed to see what's going on. We should be promoting ourselves as a good farming community, and instead I'm seeing riffraff hanging out in front of the gas station holding up signs, and I got a 4-year-old grandson walking in with me, and it's pretty graphic, the sign. So I don't appreciate that. I don't think opening these facilities was the right thing to do. Unfortunately, that ship sailed. I think now they're open, they're open. Nothing we can do about it. But we need to limit their hours. I don't think we need late hours for people to be coming into our town. I don't want these unknown people coming off of wherever, you know. They're coming from Flint or Port Huron or wherever to come to our town for this. I don't want that. You know, I've got my grandson, we've got kids. It's not necessary, okay? So I'm totally against it, and I'm almost afraid of what's gonna happen next around here. What are we expecting? Is there the next step gonna be a strip club or massage parlors? We gotta get a grip and realize where we want our community to go and what we want to be known for, and this isn't it.
I remember the days, I mean, and I lived in Richmond for a long, long time and just moved here 5 or 8 years ago, that corner was considered the dry corner. Mom's Country Kitchen. So, huh?
I miss that place.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Sally Morgan?
I'm sorry, one other note before she goes on that. With something else that was brought up about the the crime end of it, I don't know that we have the police, I don't know if we're staffed up enough to manage if there was a gang that came in town and wanted to rob one of these places. How do they manage their money? Is it stored in a back room like all the other places? I see armed guards at all these other ones. You drive by and they got security guards out in the parking lot, armed guards. So is that another risk? We're going to have a gang come in and shoot up our town. So very concerning. So extended hours, not a good plan. Daylight only.
He makes a very valid point. I mean, I feel comfortable in Memphis walking with my 6-year-old granddaughter, I mean, in the dark. I mean, you know, walk up to the ice cream place, walk home. I mean, I feel comfortable doing that. But with what he's saying is, I mean, I work at McLaren Macomb. People are getting shot every day
Right.
over drugs and alcohol. So when you add the additional, you know, I don't think that the nighttime makes it any worse. But I don't think that they got their second chance. They got to come here based on whatever happened here. But I don't think that they have a right to come in and say, well, now we want more hours. It's not fair. It's not fair to the person that started it, to do it. So,
Okay, Sally Morgan?
You know, from what I know, when I talk to a lot of people at this point, they're saying, I don't care if it's 2 additional hours. They fear their voices aren't heard. They're disappointed in the direction our city has gone. So at this point, what difference does it make? But it's a wrong attitude. But they also already feel that these decisions that were made, and they were unaware of it, so why would they bother saying anything anymore? Most feel they were misled. So voting or having a voice is meaningless. Sad that it's come to this. I'm hoping the donation the fire department received from this business, this requesting the 2 additional hours, does not influence the final decision. That, as far as I am concerned, was wrong. We don't know if they would have donated if they weren't requesting additional hours, but to me, it was an influence that was done intentionally. I don't know if I worded that right, but I hope they would plan ahead for any unforeseen problems that may or may not occur. If any infractions were to happen, they would return back to 8 p.m. If their plan is to acquire the traffic from 69, which is what he specifically said at the last meeting. Is this coming from the east, where there are not any marijuana shops? Will that be taken into consideration? Will we have the police tasked to monitor the businesses which close at 10? It's not just about 2 extra hours. It's about what could happen that they're not foreseeing that needs to be taken into consideration. You know, the safety of our town and our people and the young kids that are, you know, it's the original decision and where they even place these businesses was totally wrong.
I mean, they
And I don't know how
right
that
next to the
happened, but
school
it
bus.
did. So, you know, are we gonna be considered hot town? I mean, we don't have, you come in from every direction. You're coming into the tree business that looks like, and then there's 2 marijuana shops. You come in from the other way, we have the nicest, cutest winery, and then there's 2 marijuana shops. We come in the other direction, there's dilapidated buildings, a bus garage, and 2 marijuana shops. We come from the other direction, we have a party store with a for sale site on their lot forever who wanted to have a nice restaurant, but that got cut down because at the time, they didn't want our town to grow. And then we have 3 boarding houses, not a Toys Flower Barn. And we have the year-round yard sale going on. And then you go farther and you're gonna have 2 marijuana shops. That's not gonna create people to want to come into this town or for it to grow at all. I don't know how these decisions finally occurred, and I don't know where their thinking is, but it's the wrong direction. I mean, it's unfortunate we have this now in the center of downtown, but the history of prior council members and their decisions of not wanting our town to grow has led us into this predicament we are. So now we're in this predicament, and if it continues to create our town to go downhill, then it's a lot harder to climb back up. So, and that's what I have to say. I don't agree with it. I really don't think they need additional hours. If they're so swamped at 8 o'clock after they've been open, and then say, oh my gosh, we need to, or ask, then, if it doesn't create any additional problems, or you know, is this gonna create the other business to wanna be open till 10? Because they're gonna say, well, they are. I mean, we have to look at all of the possibilities, whether they're negative or positive, since we are now in this situation.
My other concern is, you know, the Doghouse is a family restaurant. I know it's a bar, but it is a family restaurant. So the parking for the Doghouse is either at the city council place or right on Main Street. And I mean, I take my granddaughter there on Friday to eat dinner when he's at work. I mean, the other thing is I've seen the kids leave school and go on field trips and walk. So now our school kids, and I don't have little kids, but I have grandkids that don't go to school here. They've got to walk past 2 stores like that to go to the Dairy Queen at Christmas time, or not Christmas time, but at like springtime or summertime, or the baseball diamond, the kids and all that. There's a place for it, but we're a 1 mile square town.
Anybody?
Yes, and Romeo has some, but they refuse to have any of these marijuana shops in their downtown area. They're out on Powell Road in an industrial park.
Armada doesn't have it, and Richmond doesn't have it either.
Okay, and Port Huron doesn't have it.
Right.
New Baltimore does, it's in an industrial park. So what are we creating?
I know, I'm concerned because I'm spending a lot of money right now improving my home, and what is this doing to my home value? And where, again, like I said, where's our town going? We're going the wrong direction with all of this. Like I said, I'm afraid of what's gonna show up next in town that we don't know about, that's being done under the table and behind closed doors. We need to be promoting stuff like the Doghouse and the winery and the ice cream place. I hear a lot of jokes. I work all the way in Auburn Hills. I'm a managing director at a global company over there, and believe it or not, I've got people come in town and they know about the winery. But I hear jokes about we're a pot hub. You know, that's not how we want to be known, is by the hub in the area here that's got, you know, a bunch of dispensaries. I like to be known for the Doghouse or the winery, or that we've got a great ice cream place for people to come to. We've got to focus on that stuff. To be honest, after I get done with my house, I'm considering selling because I don't know that we're going to maintain our values with this stuff going on. We've got to focus on, and even the blues festival that's been going on here. That was a great thing. It wasn't promoted enough, I don't think, but then it just kind of fell off. And we need to focus on that stuff to bring people from outside communities so that they can come to our great blues festival and then go and enjoy dinner at the Doghouse and walk over and have ice cream in the summer. And it's just a great event. We need to put energies into there instead of bringing garbage into our town. You know,
Well,
I've just got some real concerns.
And I agree, because we're walking our kids, you know, we have the park by the old schoolhouse, there's the park at the schools, or if we want to go down and take my 6-year-old grandson fishing, we have to walk past 2 pot stores. What's that?
I know I didn't sign up, but can I say something under my husband's name?
Absolutely.
You may?
Yeah, we'll put it down there.
I see them. Yeah, sorry about that. But as you're talking, it made me think of a program that I heard. And I don't remember where the town was. It wasn't in Michigan, though I do remember that. I don't know if it was Ohio, but someplace close. But anyway, they had worked for a long time, and this was a year ago, probably when it first became legal. And they were all excited about having a marijuana store. Well, they had at least for 1 year, and there was so much travail going on during that year that they did not want to lease it again after that. So that's one of the things that I have thought about over this, and I agree. I really wish it could have been not on our main street, someplace on the side. But that's my thinking, and I certainly don't think it's a good idea to be able to come to town, because when I told about the alcohol guy, he was in our in-laws across the street, my in-laws. and he was drunk. And anyway, we don't want people walking into our house or coming over that are having issues. Sorry, I really, really, really love our little town. And I wouldn't have kept the Art of Queen for 40 years if we didn't love it here so much. And I go to the doghouse to eat a lot. And we were there today with a bunch of family and friends. So it's nice here.
Thanks,
Why not
Linda.
stay that way?
Steve Weaver?
I was gonna say, sign up, love your ice cream.
Was there another?
I'm sorry, I didn't sign
Go
up.
ahead.
They're
Go ahead.
late
Go
to
ahead.
the party, I'm so sorry. I just have a couple of questions about, this isn't a meeting to decide whether or not it can stay or go. This is a meeting about its hours, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I live right across the street and I don't care if he stays open later. The one that's already there has not caused any problems in town. No other business in our city has to have approval. I opened at 4 a.m. Nobody cared that I opened at 4 a.m. Whatever works for him should be okay with our city. He's already here. We can't get rid of him. There are things in place now that if they don't renew their licenses or whatever, they'll be gone. But why don't we just embrace the fact that he's here and let him do what he needs to do to be prosperous?
Yeah, but we're down to hit a different clientele.
Well, I did, yes.
Yeah.
But
And
I
at night, the
haven't had
clientele
anybody
that's gonna
stumble
come-
onto my steps.
At night, the clientele that's gonna come in town from other locations to his place at night,
How late is he asking to stay open?
10 o'clock.
How late does the music play on the doghouse patio?
I hear it every day I could play. Loud and clear.
Till
And I
10 or
never
11?
said a word.
12?
We have to be done by 11.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I live right across the street, and I don't care if that man is open till 10 o'clock.
I think if you give someone an inch, they take a mile. Because the urgent care at the ER might say it closes at 9, but if the ER is busy, they're still lined up.
I didn't sign up. I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I hear the concerns, and I'm right there with you. The fact of the matter is, we have two businesses that we have allowed to be in the town. Is that correct? And they have to function under parameters that are specified. They can't advertise, no billboards. It's very low-key, and they have to look reputable. Is that correct, too?
but they do have billboards.
They do have billboards. They
Yeah.
are
Right out by
advertising.
69, by Port Huron, and by Flint.
In town, do we have, like the Sunoco sign, is it lit up? Is it low-key?
Yeah, but the billboards are on I-69
Red, white,
for
and
other people from outlying communities to come to our community.
That's true.
That's the problem. We don't need a sign in front of their building.
M19
The
has
signs
always
are
been
broken.
a corridor for people that are enjoying cruising on motorcycles. I've seen 5,000 pass my house. You know, they like to stop at, the doghouse. They like to stop at the party store. This happens to be something that the state has allowed. And the fact that the city of Memphis has allowed this into Memphis, now they are a business. And I don't want to take away the fears. They are under tight scrutiny. And I assume that's going to stay continual through their existence. But as a business, I think since you allowed them in, you can't sit there and crucify them as a business once you've let them in the door. Hate to say it, but you know what? They do pay revenue to the city in taxes, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Does the doghouse have limited hours?
Like the state.
There are parameters that they have to follow. And I don't think they're going to run amok of that. And I think that we have to stay on top of it as a group, which is very good to see this. But you can't crucify a business, and if they need to stay open, I mean, I know that the Dollar General is open till 10. And I know that the party store is open till, later on in the summertime, not so much in the winter. So as a business, you have to support them. doesn't mean you have to go in there, and you have to keep their feet to the fire. They can't have billboards in town to attract our kids. This is for people that are over the age of 21, you know? Children aren't walking into bars to buy alcohol. Kids aren't walking into these places to buy weed. So, since they're already here, I think we have to support them. All I have to say.
Well, I guess I'm going to make a couple comments here. First, I'd like to ask a couple questions. Is there required to have 24-hour security on these businesses?
Yes, that's per state.
Per state, 24-hour armed
It is a
security?
state-regulated facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it, it's 24 armed, right?
24-hour video.
Oh, just video?
As far as I know.
Okay, because
I myself.
They're required to keep it on specified time.
Okay. What is the, what's the manpower on the Memphis Police Department between the hours of 8 o'clock and 10, or between 6 and 8 and 8 and 10?
I believe there's one officer.
One.
So one officer. So we talked
think
about
so.
we talked about staying within parameters and helping them, you know, encourage the business. Well, we are talking about parameters. There's already parameters in place that they have to close at a certain time. They're asking to change those parameters. I don't believe that's a good idea. You know, they're asking to change those parameters. I don't believe that the Memphis Police Department would be able to handle an incident if somebody did come over there and decide to rob the place. We could look at the one that happened recently in Warren, where they went in there with assault rifles and robbed the place, and Warren has a much bigger police department. Now, if somebody gets the idea that, oh, well, this is just in a small town here, we can easily rob this place. You know, you start, you know, I mean, they are here to stay. I don't believe they should be, because I don't believe that the infrastructure is here for them to support it. But they're here to stay, but I don't think extending their parameters and making their business easier to run. It was said that businesses don't have parameters. Yes, they do. Like Tammy just said, the doghouse has to shut the radios off at 11 o'clock. All right, yeah, it's not 10 o'clock, it's not 8 o'clock, but there are parameters for businesses to operate in.
Absolutely.
So the same thing with this business. Now they're asking to change those parameters, and I'm saying we shouldn't.
So why are they asking to change the parameters when they haven't even opened? So they were allowed in, they said these would be our hours, and now they want their hours to be extended. They don't even know what their revenue or what their business, I mean, do they have people knocking on the door now, waiting for them? I mean, they need to stay within what they were given.
And those hours were prescribed in the marijuana ordinance that was written, so it was quite plain. I think they were 9 to 8 or 8 to, I'm not sure when the start time was.
So
but
what's
it was
happening
8.
now is they're pushing us just a little bit more. And when
Yes.
you give an inch, they're gonna take a mile, and it's called setting precedents legally. If we set precedents that they can stay open till 10, the guy across the street's gonna say, then I want it.
Well, that would apply to any of those businesses.
It would
Because it would be in the
automatically
ordinance, so
apply,
it's not like, you can't really separate the two businesses. and
Right, it's one.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is, they're
Just to
the
clarify
ones.
that.
No. It's not fair.
And there's a difference between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. I mean, you know, anybody that goes to the bar, you
Oh,
just the bar.
yeah, that's-
You go there at 6 o'clock, you got one type of crowd. You start going there at 11, 12 o'clock, you start seeing a different type of crowd.
Depending upon-
And it's gonna be the same thing with them. They're gonna have one type of crowd before 8 o'clock, and that's why they want that extra 2 hours, because they're looking for a different type of crowd to come in.
What's your name?
Chris Manson.
Well, and those owners aren't from a small town. I mean, the other business, that man, if I'm, you know, originally was from a small town community. But, well, I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but they're definitely more from the city. So, I agree too. It's like, why are they asking for extra hours when they're not open yet? You know?
That's why we're here. I mean, we're here to hear the public's opinion. We're here to get your input on what we decide.
Who makes the final decision?
We do.
City council.
City council.
City council does.
We present it to city
City council
council and
or
they
your planning?
we make a recommendation and then the city council votes on it and either
Okay, so
approves or denies.
that's my concern with their large donation to the fire department. Isn't that already influenced city council on their decision? Are they really gonna listen to our voice? This is why people are giving up on even voicing their concerns. Because these decisions by city council or whatever are being made anyway.
Well, that's why we're here, and that's why Steve Weaver, who is from city council,
I know.
you know, so that's why we're all here, is to get
And I highly
this
recommend
input.
you follow up by going to city council
Yeah,
meetings.
exactly.
When whatever
Coming
decision
here is
we
a great,
pass on
coming
to
here is a
them
great step.
makes it there.
Well, I tried.
I know you do. But I'm just saying that is the important thing, because yes, we are just a recommending body here. We're not setting the law or changing the order. We're just recommending, after listening to all of you, whatever we decide goes to council, and then the decision is theirs to accept, reject, or amend it.
Right. And when I did talk to another person, of course, I did ask you too, because I wasn't really sure how going to these meetings, how they're presented, how the business is done. So when you go there and you sign your piece of paper and you speak, they don't necessarily have to answer your questions. Does that mean you have to go to the next meeting? You want to hear an answer to one of your concerns that's brought up? So a lot of people don't understand how it's run. So they are disappointed when they had attended, a feeling that it was just a joke and a waste of their time. Because I guess they did expect that if they did have a concern at one of the meetings and asked a question, that they would receive an answer. But apparently instead they were told they don't have to answer anything. So then where does that put people that are concerned if we're getting that response back? And that was at prior city council meeting before you were there, Steve.
Well, technically, you know, again, I'm just speaking technically. Everybody's got their own way of running meetings and doing things. But when the public comment comes up in the context of the city meeting, it is an opportunity to express opinions, go on a personal rant, whatever you want to do. But the council is not obligated to debate the issue with the people in the audience and have a back and forth. That's just what the public comment is for. However, I think people, and I've exercised it myself, getting up in those meetings and making my voice heard as a citizen, and hope that they're listening to me. And usually I would hope for a little give and take on that. It depends on what the issue is. I see it go both ways. Sometimes I'm sitting in meetings and there's talking going back and forth between the audience. Other times I'm sitting in meetings and conversation is shut down. You know, so again, it just depends on the issue. And I'm not a hard, fast rule when it goes like that, guy, but that is the way technically it works.
Well, and that's
for
why
better or
I
worse.
texted you and asked you, you know, how does this work? Because I'm getting the feedback from people I'm trying to get to come, and that was their opinion, so.
And the important thing, Sally, is you've been doing, you've been coming, and I think people need to be more involved in that way. It is, the more transparency, the more dialogue, the better. And people have to be, and I'm happy to hear dissenting opinions tonight. I'm not afraid of those. You know, I want to hear it. If only you're hearing the same opinion all the time, only one person's doing the thinking as far as I'm concerned.
You know, and what he said about our property values and so forth, I mean, we already have the one situation that is detrimental to our property values. What is this gonna do? You know? So,
That's the bad thing, it's the unknown. You know, I live right up, there's a woods between me and the hotel and being 19. If somebody's on foot and they got the cops chasing them, where do they have to go? Right into my house. And I don't like it. Say what you want. You don't know how those people are going to react when they get to smoking that crack. And if you have somebody walking into your house at 9 o'clock at night and hammering on the stinking door and they're drunk, would you like that? I'll send them over to your place. Give you a trial run.
Been there, done
It's
that.
not a very good feeling.
Steve,
They
would
knew
you
what
look-
they were getting when they bought the place, the hours were set. As far as I'm concerned, that's good enough for them.
Thanks, Hod.
I also don't believe a donation makes things better. because that's out of the goodness of your heart. Because if that was the case, I would donate money and I would have chickens in my backyard. I'm just saying.
I'm with you on that one too.
See?
It's a slippery slope next to a lot of cows.
Will it be a roll call vote when you guys make your recommendation?
I'm sorry?
Will it be a roll call vote when you guys make your recommendation?
Yes,
Yes.
you'll hear it.
Is there anybody here from the place,
From Joyology?
from the Joyology?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here from representing them? Are they opened?
No.
No,
But
it's just a
there's-
painted building
So
right
they
now.
want to change their hours before they even open?
Well, here's the thing, this is,
Is it the one open or
No, this is- this
Are we
is-
closing
this
the
is,
public hearing?
No,
not yet.
Not yet.
I mean, we got a letter saying, from the city, saying, we're gonna conduct a public hearing. We have no letter or information from that company actually requesting it.
I guess
No,
my
that was given
concern
to
is
the- that was
they're
given
not
to the
here
city,
even
am I
voice their
correct?
opinion.
Yeah.
Go
Correct on
ahead,
that?
Pat.
At the city
I'm sorry.
council list.
How then do, if they knew 8 o'clock was the time, and they want to go to 10, but no one's here as a representative, how is it even before our planning commission?
They made a request to the city council.
They
Pat.
did, right?
Yeah, they
The city council
made a formal
requested this.
written request for the city
Well, why
council
isn't that
to
included in our
consider it.
packet?
Yeah, you have that, is that what this is here, is this the request?
I think that's what refers to it. I don't think I've ever seen a,
Because this is
seen
from
that
the deputy clerk,
request from-
so that's why I was
because
asking.
it
That's not,
is,
we
it
have,
is just.
it was on the agenda, it was on a regular city agenda.
It would be helpful to have them here to say that, because right now.
And then the
it's
city
projection,
council
why they
sent it
want
to the
that.
planning commission, so it has followed the normal procedure when somebody's making a request. So it did go to city council. City council can't change an ordinance without getting the recommendations from the planning commission. So then we have a public hearing, which is what we're doing now, and we'll send that information or the result of that back to the city council, and then they will make the decision.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Tina.
No, I just, if, I don't know what I was saying, but.
And like I said, I didn't mean to sidetrack. you.
No.
Go ahead, if it pops in, just.
I will.
You know,
I said, no, you're fine.
there's been occasions up in the store, you know, we got those young girls working up there. They used to work till 10 o'clock at night, but we cut our hours down now because of various things. 9 o'clock. We've got lights all over that place we've put in. I can track you nowhere. I got cameras all over that place. We've asked the police to come up and sit there until closing time because of the concern that we have for those kids when they get out of work at night, because it's 10 or 10:30 at night when they get out of there. Now, if your daughter's working there, would you be a little bit concerned if there wasn't that protection and have the police go up there? They're good enough to go up there and sit for about an hour every night till those kids walk out of there. And I told the kids, you don't walk out by yourself. You go out together.
This is at the doghouse?
No.
No, ice cream,
Okay.
ice cream. And
Okay.
you just don't, this day and age, there's a lot of metal characters out there too. You just don't know how they're gonna react. And to add fuel to the fire and extend hours, it just gives them more opportunity. And you want your daughter raped or,
We can make a recommendation, just thinking of that, I mean, because I drive through town, you know, when I come up and I work different hours, I usually see the officers sitting in various areas. But if you feel more comfortable, I mean, you can put a request, you know, talk to city council,
The
talk to
police-
the
They
mayor
do sit
about.
there now.
Oh, they do sit there now?
The police
Okay.
do, they sit at the gas station when they're closing. They
Okay.
watch the dollar store, they watch the party store, they're right here, but we only have one. So how is that one, who kind of monitors all of these areas, now gonna monitor that area when we don't know what's gonna be, what they're gonna be bringing in at that time?
Right.
So I mean, to take the extra money we earn from them and put it to the police force, and there goes our so-called all our extra money for other things that are needed? I mean, I can't understand why they would even be asking for extra hours when they aren't open yet. So, you know, they just want to, they're in competition with the other ones, so they want to be open later.
It would apply to.
It would apply to both of them.
Dispensaries. So
Oh,
once
no,
we open the
okay, now that's
No,
another
no,
thing that we weren't aware of.
It's an umbrella over it, so if we had
It's-
4 dispensaries, they'd all be
If the
operating at the
ordinance
same
is
hours.
changed, it applies to every establishment.
Correct.
Okay, well, see, we didn't know that, or I didn't know that. I thought the other one would then have to ask, but, okay. So we'll have 2 open until 10.
Correct.
Wow,
If it's approved.
wow, right.
Well, the other thing is they're not supposed to be consuming their product that is purchased on their property.
It's
They're-
not to be consumed on the property.
Right,
These
so
are state
what's,
regulations.
so let's talk about where the next place they're going. They're going to the doghouse parking lot, they're going to our park that's supposed to be closed at dusk. And at dusk, our police officer is sitting at
Article.
Arctic Queen where he should be, keeping our young ladies of the community safe, because 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted. So
I have a daughter myself.
that's all I have is a daughter, so, no. I mean, if their consumers are in the door and the door is closed, it's like going to the Arctic Queen. It closes at 9, but if there's a lineup, you know, you service the next few people. But if they're inside the door, service them and close and lock your door. I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, I haven't seen anybody lined up out there, but if they're lined up, then get them inside your store and be productive. And get them out the door so they can go on home.
Every time I've driven mine, it's always empty.
I don't even know why they need to.
Steve, do you want to take your turn?
Yeah, I do. I wrote it down this time because I feel like I've made this speech a bunch of times and I don't really have too much to add to my opinion. I appreciate the various ones I've heard tonight. I'm going to take a little bit bigger view here, just to give you a window into the way I think about this whole issue one more time. And it is this: how does a society fail? The fabric of a civilization unravel? Well, it's gradually, and then it's suddenly. And while I'm not personally opposed to any individual smoking weed, my position has always been I am for the decriminalization of marijuana. But this creeping toward universal, unlimited embrace of this drug, it's a mistake. And it's to the point that young kids, middle school, even elementary kids, they cannot escape this increasing newfound idea that smoking weed has no downside. I was raised in the late 60s and early 70s. I'm going to tell you, I'm here to testify, yes it does. I counsel all my boys, don't help you hit a curveball and don't help you study. And I prefer that the revenue wasn't a result of an excise tax on vice. I'd rather have it on virtue, as many of you spoken about the more positive businesses in town. You know, the trade-off for money, it's a really shallow argument to me. There is a cost. It's a small change in the dynamics of this city. If you allow these weed shops to stay open late, you're going to have 2 weed shops open till 10 o'clock on 2 corners of our downtown. I feel better keeping the hours just as they are. Just fits better for me. It's just my opinion. I'm a guy that likes a sleepy small town feel. I'm just one man expressing small town opinion. How about a timeout for now on expanding these businesses? Let's see that second store start up. Get a couple of year track record on both businesses running and see what we get. You know, if the council wants to expand the hours or the operation or add more businesses after we gather some real-time history, expand away. Council only needs 4 votes to do that. Unlimited expansion is at the council command with 4 votes. My message is, why the hurry? Now I know we got alcohol, we got tobacco, we got lotteries ad infinitum, we got gambling online, we got unlimited porn available for any kid, any age on their phones. I wish Congress spent a little time on that, but anyway. There is revenue in the above on this marijuana thing, you know. All right, I get it. You know, marijuana's joined that club. but there's a cost. I see it in 1-800 call if you have a gambling addiction. Drug, alcohol addictions, we got numbers for them too. Not for porn though, governments are okay with that. But a quick recap of the weed program in town, the way I've understood it the last couple of years. Memphis originally opted out to be in the state weed program. The council then opted back in. They adopted a weed ordinance, which is what we're talking about amending right now. They made several types of weed licenses available. We had one dispensary license awarded. The second one was granted via court order because of legal issues that came up in the way the licenses were granted. Then there was an attempt to rezone property in light industrial at the north end of town here to allow multi-acre outdoor commercial growing. And I thank God that attempt failed. That could have put 6,000 plants over 6 acres in here and would have been a multi-million-dollar business. But the public spirit at that time, when that came to pass, it was clear that people resoundingly said no. They did not want a further expansion of the marijuana industry. 2 public hearings like the one we're having now at the Planning Commission level made that pretty obvious. And the council eventually adopted both those recommendations from the planning committee that were generated in those meetings, and that was no rezoning of the industrial land to accommodate the agricultural marijuana grows, and secondly, no commercial indoor-outdoor grows, period, in the Memphis city limits. And both those, I believe, were adopted unanimously by the city council. Now, Memphis received, I might be off, 50, 60 grand on this, on cash revenue, depending on how you count it. Macomb County received $750,000. The county executive, Mark Hack, he said this: we're very focused in working with the health and substance abuse services. I don't think there is any question services are needed in those areas, and this is something that marijuana regulation funds can be used for. So there's a cost. Marijuana gets its place at the table now with its syntax siblings, and it's happy to pay the unfortunates who are destroyed by these policies as just another acceptable cost to do business. I'd rather see less than more. We're going to have 2 stores running shortly. I don't think it's too much to ask them to abide by the ordinances as they were written. Let's get a trial run before we start changing this ordinance again. We just finally got done rewriting the marijuana ordinances because we did disallow outdoor grows. That was a process of 2 years, several drafts, just finished readopting at a last meeting or 2 in the city council. You know, lure of money, I know it's strong. And many municipalities and cities, they're seeking that revenue stream. Despite that though, there are plenty of other cities, as has been mentioned here tonight, that stayed out. There is a cost. There's reasons that they stayed out. And that is why I am opposed to expanding their hours. Thank you.
Any more comments before we close the public hearing regarding the marijuana ordinance?
Make a motion to close.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Any opposed? Public hearing is closed
For marijuana
for
retail.
marijuana retail.
We have a statewide management group rezoning request.
Yes. Well, I think we ought to have a vote for a recommendation at this point, shouldn't we?
Following the, yes, on the marijuana retail.
So
The
if
hours.
anybody wants to make a motion, we can have several, one, different, anybody.
As I hear people discussing the things with this, what becomes clear to me is the unknown aspect of a new industry within our city. The arguments over whether we have 1 or we have 2 or whatever, I wish we could discuss that more, but that's what we're dealing with. Do we allow them to stay open 2 more hours? they've done their business, they think they know what they are gonna handle and what their business is gonna look like. I did look to see like what are the hours that these places are open. There's some that are open 24 hours. Not very many, but they range from 8 to 9 to 10. I lean more towards a middle of the road. How about there's a night or 2 nights, not 7 nights a week? And that there is some type of conditional clause onto this that allows us to see what happens. Because even right now, you know, we say, what is it going to be like? We're looking at just one store that's open. Right now, doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of issues with it as far as people hanging around, bringing in lots of traffic, and that. With the other one, is it going to be about the same? I don't know, and nobody knows that. But I feel like what are the safeguards that we as a city can put in place to have some recourse in an unknown entity as legalized marijuana? Or are we just all in and everything is fine? Let's have another store. Let's make it 24 hours down the line. So I could get behind a motion that would include some safeguards. It would include some way to see how things unroll in the future, would be my opinion.
Well, I appreciate your opinion, Leslie, but really what's before us is they're asking for an extension for 2 hours. And my motion I would make, without, when we're done with discussion or anybody else wants to add or check, is no, I move to deny expansion of hours for the dispensary. See how they do. I mean, I don't think it's really necessary. You're talking about additional layers and so forth, and now there's more legislation, there would be more ordinance changes. The simple question that I'm just considering that came to the city council and now to the planning councils, can we extend our hours till 10 o'clock? And for the reasons I just spoke on, no, my motion would be denied expansion of hours at this time. And that's, like you said, there could be expansions. You could have 24-hour stores, and as I pointed out, you only need 4 votes on the council, and if that's the way the city wants to go, that's all it takes. So again, what's the hurry? I wanted to see how this plays out without expanding it further. And of course, no mystery where I stood on this subject, you know, for the last couple of years. But that's my thoughts. Anybody else want to add or subtract?
We don't know what it's going to be like to have 2 stores right across the street from each other. We don't know that yet because the second store is not open. So I think we're a little premature in granting extra hours when we don't know how this is going to play out. Is it going to be a lot more traffic? Is it not going to be more traffic? Are you going to have people running across Main Street back and forth to go from store to store? I have no idea. But I'm not sure that we need to change the ordinance at this point until we have some data to see how they're doing, if they truly need extra hours. To do this before they even open the doors makes no sense to me at all.
I think it's jumping the gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is jumping the gun. They decided to come to Memphis knowing what the ordinance was and the hours were, and the fact that nobody's even here to talk to the people, the public, I think is not good faith on their part. If they want to be part of the community, they should be here to state their side. And we don't even have anything from them stating why, what the purpose is.
The city drew a line.
I think we should.
And they're trying to push that line.
Is there a motion on the floor?
We can put
No.
it.
Not yet, not yet.
No.
Not yet?
But let's put a motion.
Does anyone have anything else to say?
Yeah, listening to Radonna and Pat, they both make good points that what the business is going to do. I talked to the police chief, and there's been no new issues or anything arising from the one store being open at the time. I understand everyone's concerns, and I can agree with some of those too. But the fact that this store has not even opened yet, I agree with you guys as far as leaving it the hours they are now. See how it goes. I don't know if we can recommend a time frame for that, or let the city council recommend a time frame.
I like Steve's idea of at least a couple of years.
Yeah, leave the
Because what I'm
hours the way
thinking is,
they're
yeah,
at.
it's all big, it's a whole new fad right now that and, you know, I travel 400 or 500 miles a day with my job. I handle all of Southeast Michigan. I see dispensaries all over the place. Harrison Township has 4 within a 1 square mile. It's all pleasant trees. You can smell it as you go down 94. It's disgusting. I can't stand it. I'm allergic to this stuff. Waterford has theirs. They have people running across the street, across traffic lights, trying to get to their
Yep.
dispensary.
That's what
Because there's no parking.
concerned about.
You know, so don't worry about that. The kids, yes, you know,
And
my,
that's
you
not
know.
any price for it either.
No, and there's
I
no
mean,
price
gas
for it.
stations do it,
I see it,
believe
like
it,
I
so are
said,
they.
it's a new fad. You know, it's legal. Oh, it's all legal. Boom, boom, boom. Oregon was the first. What happened to it? It's dwindled down now after a couple of years. It's new. It's like a bright new puppy. It's a brand new puppy. And after a couple of years, well, that puppy now starts to annoy you. You know, so, I mean, believe me, I got a dog, so she's 100. Anyways, but, I mean, like everybody said, they're here, like Radonna said, like she said, they're here to stay. We're gonna have to, you know, it was a decision that was made. I was not part of that decision. You know, I wasn't even on the council, I wasn't even on the commission. So, but I came to this community because I like the hometown feel. Radonna made me that way, it made me feel that way my first time walking to the Donut Girls. Nina's ice cream parlor, I mean, love it. I love this town, that's why I'm on this commission. I love here, that's why I ran for mayor, because I want to be a part of this community. And right now I said, it's here, it's gonna stay. I mean, there's not much that any of us can really do about it. All we can do is right now just hold on to it, but watch. And let's see what it does over a couple of years. They may just say, wow, the business isn't all that great here. We're not really making, we're paying out more for the building than we are bringing in. So we're just gonna close shop. Banks do it all the time. You know, Target's done it. What is it, TGI Fridays? You know, they were great in the beginning. You know, everybody went to Fridays when we're all in our 20s. What happened to them now? They're gone. The business is gone. They shut the doors. So I make a motion is to keep it, the hours what they are, and the ordinance as it stands with the original.
A second.
All approved.
Ken, you want to read out that motion as we do it, and then we'll do it through as a roll call?
Was it just that the ordinance stays, our recommendation is the ordinance?
I recommend to keep this, the ordinance as is written.
Yeah.
The ordinance remains as is.
Correct. Thank you. I knew there was terminology in it somewhere. Yeah, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
But this is great. I like seeing the people. I like talking to people. And I like, you know, so this is what we need to do in the future. This is what we need to do with the city council meetings, with our planning commission meetings. That's why they're public hearings. You know, everybody's invited to join. Come in, put your input. If we don't have the community input, you know, we don't know where to go with this.
Is there a
When we hear
motion on the
this-
table? You want to do roll call?
We will, yeah.
He's
you
writing
got
it up.
I'm going to have him read it, and we'll do it.
Tom Ahern motions that the planning commission recommends the ordinance stays as written.
Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
For the
Seconded
hours.
by,
For the hours.
by Ken.
For the hours,
For the
correct.
hours.
For the hours.
Steve Weaver?
I'm voting yes if the ordinance stays as is.
Okay, Tom?
Yes.
Leslie, yes. Ken?
Yes.
Ken Riley?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
And Barb?
Yes.
Motion pass.
I'd like to thank everybody too for coming. It's nice to have a civil discussion and a little bit more fireworks than some of the other ones we've had in the past year. And it's good. We can't always agree on everything, but it's good to have
Always going
a
to have
civil
input.
discussion.
The next item is the statewide management group requesting a rezoning of the property shown on the map here, Bell River,
Pratt?
Yeah, access to Spill River, it doesn't go up to Pratt.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, with the houses.
It used to, and we're building on those now, so.
And so you are the
Statewide.
statewide, okay, okay. And this is referring to the middle property that is the farmland, right? We have the houses that are coming along the adjacent both roads, okay? And this is where back when the houses were first being developed, this was the area that was talked about as a condominium possibility there?
Correct.
I have a couple questions. When you came to us several years ago, it was with the intention of building 14 houses, I think it was, 13 or 14 houses, some on Pratt Road, some on Bell River.
Just a little bit more, I think, if we get done with about 15.
Well, there's 13, the original was 13, 7 and 6.
Right.
And then we own the property across on the other side of the road.
Right.
Which could land up to 5 lots there.
Okay, all right, so at this point, 3 years later, you have 4 houses built.
That's right.
Are any of those sold?
Yes. Lot number 1 is sold, supposed to close next week, Thursday.
So are you going to finish the 14 houses or 15 or 16 houses before you start building multiple?
To be honest with you, if we sell one more, we talk about building 4 more. So we'll build 4 at a time.
Okay. So will that project
I think
finish?
we're going to go to Pratt, I think.
Will that project
Right?
finish?
Well, there's interest over on Pratt right now.
I'm sorry.
Will that project finish before you start building condos or whatever?
Well, the point, to be honest with you, it takes about a year or so to get that done, that, you know, all the plans drawn and all that kind of stuff, so I hope so. I mean, I hope we can sell them, sure. I mean, we can do with the economy. I mean, if the economy stays reasonably good, we got a shot, yeah, we would like to. So, but we have a few other interested parties, so if, again, we are able to have 2 sales, we will start 4 more. So,
If you sell 2 out of the 4, you'll be.
yeah, we have 1 sold, hopefully closing next week, and we have a couple good prospects. So we're hoping.
And that will move forward the houses
Right.
going
Houses
then
will
around the
continue.
corner.
Right.
But as far as the condo type,
Well, we would
are you
continue-
talking about a condo or an apartment, or what is it in that space you're discussing?
We've talked several different things.
Yeah.
Duplexes maybe 4plexes, 6plexes. We obviously got to propose whatever we're thinking to you guys, but step 1 is get this land zone that we can do it, and then we'll present something.
So
to
it
you
will be
to
multifamily?
That's the
Is
goal.
that right?
Well, yeah, we're thinking 8 units per acre, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a 20-unit building, but whatever we do, we would present to you for approval anyway. But again, step 1, we have to get the land approved for us to do it, so.
Yeah, it's, you know, originally those homes were gonna be 1,300 square feet and a full finish and a full basement. And now for 200,000, which was not gonna happen with the prices.
Yeah,
in the-
inflation got the best of everybody, I think.
Right. So now we have 4 houses that are built on slabs
Yes,
for 275, 85,000.
that's right.
And
We're the most economical house in Macomb County that I know of. You can find a condo maybe equal or greater, but I think we're the most economical house in Macomb County.
Freestanding house.
Yeah.
And definitely on a half-acre lot.
it just
And the
concerns
lots
me
are
that,
beautiful to
you know,
pound
it
too.
just concerns me that something else is gonna start being developed and that mess on Bell River Road is gonna stay that way. And the east side of Bell River where all the construction stuff is and piles of mud and dirt, is that gonna, you know, it concerns me that you're gonna start another project without finishing the first project.
Well, it doesn't behoove us to do that because we only make money when we sell a piece of ground and sell a house. So we want to sell them, believe us.
Yeah, but I mean, you could, what I'm saying is you could put up a 4plex or something back there and Bell River Road would still have nothing on it. That's my concern.
Well, I appreciate that, but what we're saying right now is in order to even give you a thought of what we want, we would go to the engineers, draft out something, present something to you for your approval. But before we can do that, it has to be rezoned to even get to that step, is what we're saying. But it takes, for instance, we've got a project going in Grand Blanc right now. We have 150 single-family units. It took 15 months from tip to tail to get approval of the project and construction drawings. Now I'm taking those construction drawings and putting it out for bid so that we can get the land moved, the water and sewer put in and all that, which will probably take another 3 to 6 months. So we're talking, if everything went well, 15, 18, 2 years before we could build it. I mean, it's just the way it is. I'm not any different than any other builder, so that's just the way
It
it
just,
is.
you know, this happened in Memphis once before, and there was a company that came to us and said they wanted to rezone this piece of property, which was, I think it was originally mobile home. We found another place for the mobile home park, which obviously, you know, we have to have that. And then they turned around and sold it. We rezoned it and they sold it. So it's you know, it's happened to us before, and it's a concern.
But our goal, I mean, again, we're pushing through with building homes. As I mentioned, the lot 15, which is the one that's right up against the ball fields. They're interested in the basement and are willing to pay the upgrade for the basement. So, our biggest concern was initially why we went to slab because the homes wouldn't appraise. If we all know, a home doesn't appraise, you can't get one inch.
Right.
Can't sell a house.
So apparently they're appraising for.
Yes, the first one has appraised, no problem for the 275 selling.
It's wonderful.
Oh, yeah, trust me,
They're
that's-
lovely, they're really.
We were all holding our breath,
Very nice.
waiting on that appraisal. So, you know, and if my sales guy can write that one, we're gonna start that house over on Pratt with the basement, that's our goal. Trust me.
So people can have, they can.
Oh, sure.
They can have a basement if they choose.
Sure. The land
For the right price, they can have a basement.
Right, and that's the biggest.
That's what we were nervous about, that extra 20 grand or.
Yeah.
It's about 20, about 18,000.
Yeah, I believe it, yeah.
The houses on Pratt, they will have sidewalks, that's correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Did you put those in like as you build the units?
Yeah, you can't put them in before because you'll destroy.
No, I mean, but as you build a.
Yeah, correct.
Each house gets,
House
right.
gets complete, the sidewalk gets in, and
Each
then you
lot,
approve
lot.
it.
It's not like you build 7 of them, then put the sidewalk all the way down. I'm just curious, I didn't know.
Built as you go. Built as you go.
And the 8.5 acres or so, what would you just say, I'm not trying to pin you down, but like maximum density of units versus, just a
We're
ballpark?
hoping, depending on roads and layout and what we do, if we do, I like fourplexes, to me they lay out nice, they're nice to build. We're thinking we can get about 60.
So 60 units. And these would be sold as like individual properties under a condo.
Association.
Straight up
So they would all
condo.
have their own individual property taxes they're responsible for.
Yeah, we would write up restrictions and all that, and that would also be.
Can you tell me how does the sewer taps work on that? Like if you have a fourplex, is that considered one sewer tap?
No, I think you have to have 4, because you have individual bills for each person.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not, no.
So we're looking at potentially having 60 more sewer and water line taps. I didn't know if we could do it under one.
I like the way you're going, I like
Yeah.
that thought, but I don't think we can make that work.
I'm just curious, I know you've got a long way to go, and I think it's a fascinating thing with the condos, with the market, with either the young Sears or the old, these upscale smaller condos people don't want. I own 2 acres in an old house, so I'm thinking you might, I'd be very interested in seeing what you guys are perhaps proposing for that.
The family that's moving into lot 1, I think they have I don't know, I'm not great at it, but they're probably 5 and 7, 5 and 9-year-old. So there's some kids moving into the school.
School connections there.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, they look nice. I live right at the foot of Bell River.
Oh, no kidding.
Stop sign, so I've been watching the progress. Look, they're very nice units.
Trying. This mud has been tough.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Spring has been
farmland.
tough.
I mean, I grew up in Mount Clemens, or Clinton Township,
I'm not sure how this.
just south of 16 Mile in Gratiot. Grew up in that community there. And that was a dairy farm.
There's a street called Lester, my sister used to live on Lester, just south of 16.
Yeah.
Goes to the west, up there.
Yep, west side, yep, west area.
Steve, we'll make a motion to, if you make a motion to approve this rezoning, is there a public hearing that's made with the rezoning
yeah, that's
after
what
the
we'll have to
counseling,
do
the
is-
council says yay or nay?
We will have to set a date for a public hearing. I wrote one down, get enough time for it to go in the paper. And then notices will be sent out to everybody within 300 yards, 300 feet of the property. I have something written down for that. So what we'd want to do, I believe, is to make a motion to have a public hearing on rezoning the Bell River property, and I think, I looked at the date, it'd be at least 2 weeks, so I thought the earliest that we could probably do that. We have,
Hey, I'll be off on medical for like 6 weeks, so I can limp my happy ass over.
May 10th would be the second Wednesday. So that should be plenty enough time to get it in the paper, so we can make sure we're not, I don't want to miss a
So we make a motion to,
Make a motion to, for a public hearing to rezone the Bell River, or is it Bell River?
statewide management group.
Statewide management request for rezoning from R1 to RM for development of multifamily residences. And the public hearing will,
Wednesday, May 10th at 6:30.
Wednesday, May 10th at 6:30 here at the Lions Club.
Well, don't say that quite yet, I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
I can ask
It'll be a
Ned.
city hall, it'll be something.
Ned's next door, I can go pound it.
We went over to City Hall and y'all weren't there, so. Oh, it's in the door, it's over here, okay.
My neighbor is the Lions president, so
Okay.
let's go tell him, hey, give me the keys.
Yeah, you gotta talk to the hall guy.
Oh, okay.
Tom, are you making that
I'm making the motion.
and he's writing it down
Yeah,
here?
motion for May
We'll
10th
do
for a
that.
public hearing
Yeah, so.
for statewide request for
Do we have to
rezoning.
put a date in? I think we have to set a, pick a date.
Wednesday, May 10th.
Wednesday, May 10th.
I didn't hear, okay, I
May
didn't hear
10th.
that. Thank you.
Like 6:30.
Which house is lot 1? Is it the one closest to the White House or the closest to the brick home?
The White House, the furthest north one,
Okay.
closest to Boardman.
They'll be my neighbors.
Oh, we're in the way around, okay.
You know what I do? Don't mind if we talk.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay, did somebody second that motion?
I make a motion. Who's going to second it?
Are we doing it in a
Let's
second?
hear
Yeah,
it
Tammy.
first. Let's hear how the motion reads first. if you
Yeah,
don't
read the
mind.
motion, Mr.
Do we
Dunbar.
have a property ID of that?
The corner between here and there and over here. I don't know, I can't read it.
There's none.
I'll just put
Yeah, there isn't a parcel number, but we know where it's at.
Just the 8.6 acres.
Yeah.
Bell River, that would,
8.6 acres, yeah. Off Bell River. I see the access here. Oh, retention
It's the
pond.
parcel numbers right
I
there.
mean ducks.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
See, what's the difference between ducks and chickens? I'm stuck on chickens.
They're both not allowed, if that makes you feel better.
Well, they're gonna go to retention.
You don't
pond.
even want to go there.
I know, I'm teasing.
I have, I mean, and you see we have these big thick books. So I started reading through it and I'm like, I can't even have a lizard or a snake. And my daughter loves snakes, so.
Okay.
Tom Ahern motions that the planning commission hold a public hearing for statewide management group's rezoning request to change lot, for parcel number 03-02-151-03 from R1 to RM. Oh, 03.
It's a mouthful.
Yep.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion's passed.
Oh, yeah, there's a question right
Thank you
there.
very much.
thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for coming in. All right.
All right, so we are moving on to unfinished business and reviewing the master plan. I'll make a motion that we
unfinished business.
Table unfinished business till the next meeting.
Support.
All in favor? Aye.
Brilliant, Pam.
Okay. Next meeting,
Hey, there's still a meeting going on. Yeah, it's, end of the month, right?
Yeah.
26 here next week.
April 26th. I will try to be there, that's 2 days out of surgery.
April 26th.
So I don't know if I'm gonna be drugged. As long as it's over at City Hall, I could probably walk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I gotta study up on the details. I don't have the maps here anyway.
No, I don't, I just have what we have. Nina, keep that ice cream spot open, man.
Do we have any
I haven't
comments
done
on
there
the
yet.
comments from commissioners? Anybody have any comments? Okay, we adjourn the meeting?
No, I second that.
7:50.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.